Hey there, how's it going? My name is Carter Sirach, and I'm back again with another Notion video. If you know me, you probably know me from some of the Notion tutorials that I've created. If you haven't seen those, definitely check them out if you want to learn a little bit more about Notion. But in today's video, I'm talking about the future of Notion and what I have envisioned for where I think they're headed and why I'm so personally excited as a user of Notion. So we're going to start with this tweet that Notion made on September 8th. So this is last month of 2021. They said, exciting news, we're acquiring Automate.io. This will accelerate our ability to build high quality integrations for teams and businesses, as well as more features for developers building on Notion API. If you are familiar with the API, an API is essentially a way for an application to communicate with other applications. So just to give a very contextual example, Notion's API allows you to integrate something like Notion with something like Google Calendar, where you can create Notion pages based on Google Calendar events or vice versa. And what Automate.io does is they make it easier for applications to integrate with each other. They've already built in like integrations for tons of applications so that you can connect them together. What Notion's done is they've said, you know what, we're not going to build these integrations out in-house. We're just going to go ahead and buy an entire company that's already built a huge amount of integrations online. And Automate.io is similar to Zapier, if you've heard of Zapier. Zapier is kind of the industry leader in automations and API connections for normal people, for the codeless movement. That's the main thing I'm talking about today is Notion is revolutionizing the codeless movement, if you will. Meaning, like, they're moving the whole software world away from needing to be a programmer to understand it, to just allowing like normal people to be able to use a software without knowing any code or knowing how to program or anything like that. So that's what I'm so excited about. This is one of the big developments that they've made. And what they're actually doing is they're just leaving Automate.io as a standalone company to continue generating revenue. So one, they've got that going for them. And then they've got that other network effect of like just having all of these integrations, which is just going to help them grow even faster. I've always said that I think like the better the Notion API is, the faster it's going to grow, because it's going to allow like people that want to use other software to use Notion as maybe a secondary application if they're not already using it as their like first go-to for everything. Check out this article that just came out on Forbes. This came out today, actually. And it says Notion reaches $10 billion valuation boosted by remote work and TikTok. And this article goes into how Notion has been super hyped up in like the Gen Z demographic. So early this year, Notion experienced a problem unusual to enterprise software startups. And here's why it's unusual. Like, enterprise software startups don't usually go viral on TikTok. I mean, just imagine if something like Monday.com went viral on TikTok. It's the last thing that people want to think about when they are scrolling through TikTok is like work, right? That's like people come home from work and they get on TikTok to escape. Yet Notion went viral on TikTok. Pretty cool, right? On January 4th, millions of users logged on to Notion to check their note-taking to-dos and calendars to start the new year, only to find that the service was down. A month later, it happened again, and Twitter buzzed with panicked users. So what did Notion do? Well, Notion wasn't new to growth. The app quintupled its user base of knowledge workers and note-takers, personal organizers in 2020 as the pandemic pushed more work online. Not a surprise. And the company reached a $2 billion valuation that April. So April of 2020, they're at $2 billion. Now they're at $10 billion. But it wasn't prepared for Gen Z, which turns out loves minimalist note-taking tool and workspace. That's where I think this gets interesting, right? That's where I think Notion is kind of democratizing databases and software. Not that like there's some corrupt programmers that are just like, we want databases to ourselves, we're going to keep them forever. But more so like in the sense that they're just making it easier for normal people to understand how to use these sort of things. Each video led to thousands of unexpected signups pouring in, and Notion was caught by surprise. Now, This led to a lot of their enterprise level customers like Adobe, Headspace, Figma, to kind of be like, whoa, what the hell is going on, guys? Like, why is Notion down, right? Like, it kind of it stunted them a little bit. And the startup spent the next 6 months overhauling its infrastructure to combat slow load times and handle the next surge. So Notion is no stranger now to like virality and crazy like black swan events where they just randomly like surge in growth. They're getting used to that. They handle their infrastructure problem. And I've always noticed that they move a little bit slower than the rest of the industry. Kind of similar in the way that like Apple does business, right? They move a little bit slower than everyone else in the industry. They look at what everyone else is doing, and then they just create a better version and just go, bam, we're gonna release like a better version, but we're gonna be like a year or two late on it, right? So they kind of just let the dice roll, see how things play out, and then they just make something better. And I feel like that's what Notion kind of does. They introduced like software updates and stuff like that on a pretty minimal basis for the size of their company. But whenever they do ship something, it's always really good and it's always quite stable, in my opinion, when I'm looking at like just the software world overall. A lot of times companies try to ship features super quickly and they end up like just releasing all these features that just kind of work and they're kind of buggy and they're slow. But I found that Notion's been growing at a pretty good pace. And it says Notion now maintains offices in Dublin, New York, Tokyo, Hyderabad, which is in India, I believe, where recently acquired startup Automate.io. So yes, that's where Automate.io is based, and that's where Notion's new office is, in India. So Notion did not share revenue numbers, but points to user growth that might be the envy of some consumer businesses. The company boasts more than 20 million users today, up from 1 million in 2019. So they've moved from 1 million users to 20 million users in the span of like 2 years. Just phenomenal. And 4 million last April. So even since last April, they've increased quite a bit, right? So there's a real sort of surge going on with Notion and the popularity of the platform. A similar thing happened with Slack and Zoom. And with 80% of its user base outside of the US and 70% of sales, its Korean language Facebook group counts more than 30,000 members versus 50,000 plus for its Arabic focus group. So it's worldwide, right? It's stretching and expanding, and a lot of people are just starting to realize the power of it, right? This Forbes article goes on and on, talking a little bit more about like the future and what the vision is. But my main what does it say right here about Rome Research? While its valuation and backers stand out even in the moment of prolific funding and high valuations for buzzy software startups, Notion still competes in a crowded field that includes tech giants and other startups like newly minted unicorn Coda and challenger Rome Research. It also rubs shoulders with a number of other businesses like Airtable, a database-inspired productivity tool. I really think that Notion and Airtable have a lot in common, personally. Also backed by Coatue. To Kothari, who says he counts the leaders of many of those peers as friends, the biggest difference today is Notion's community. There's this real love and passion for the product that comes from people feeling like they can create things. And that's what I was just saying earlier, right? It's like they're making it easier for normal people to express something that they're trying to get out. I think it's pretty cool. He says Notion is becoming a product where people are creating amazing things and building businesses on top of that. Like, for instance, I just made a video the other day about like how you can build a full-fledged website just using Notion. Like, just using Notion. I mean, you have to host it on a different platform if you want it to be like a custom domain or whatever, but man, it's really off to the races. But Notion's business prospects will hinge as much upon an age-old enterprise software issue, its ability to scale within large organizations without becoming unwieldy or more productivity drain than boom. Notion's acquisition of Automate came as the company has recognized that in larger organizations, different teams were connecting Notion to tools specific to their work, such as marketer connecting Marketo or support staffers integrating with Zendesk. And that's kind of what I was talking about as well, where they're trying to make it easier for people to integrate so that Notion can kind of just be the database where everything ends up, where it's like a catch-all for data. And then people can go about their business and like use the other applications how they want to. Hey there guys, sorry about the abrupt cutoff right there. I just wanted to end this video. Unfortunately, the mic battery died on the original video that I recorded, so the outro has been lost. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more Notion videos like this, I'm going to cue the end screen right now. And you can click on this side if you want to see my Notion playlist. You can click over here if you want to subscribe and get updates when I come out with more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.